Welcome to the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for all things man, husband, and father. We provide content to help men become the men they want to be. My name is Brent, and I am the Fallible Man. On today's show, we're going to talk about the importance of finding your foundation as a man. In these crazy times, it is more important than ever that you have a solid foundation to guide you in your life. Stick around to the end and learn the 3x3 method of getting through everything as a man. The 3x3 method that will set you for a foundation that you will always know your way.
This is the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for everything man, husband, and father. Here is your host, the Fallible Man, Brent Dowling.
Guys, thanks for joining me today. My name is Brent. Like I said, I am the Fallible Man, and I am grateful that you are here today to spend this time with me. I promise I won't waste your time. We'll get right to it. So I was raised with this really simple concept. Now, maybe you'll think it's cliche, but it's how I was raised, so please don't mock me too bad. But I was raised on the very simple foundational principles of God, family, country. Seems pretty simple, right? Now, I know all of you have heard that at some point in a movie or in a meme, maybe making fun of redneck kind of people, or maybe you take that serious. You hear it a lot with military personnel. You hear it a lot with Southerners. So hopefully you don't think it's too crazy, because there's a lot of truth to it, guys. It's amazing. Those three things have guided me through some of the darkest times of my life. They have seen me through the rough seas that have tossed me over the 40 years I've been alive. Everybody has had ups and everybody has had downs. Yours and mine may have been different, but you've had good times. I've had good times. You've had bad times. I've had bad times. It's one of those crazy, amazing things. As human beings, we all have a lot more in common than we do, I guess different would be the right word. I love the YouTuber Brian Alshu. He does a fitness channel. He's amazing. Does a strongman, but just as a person, he's incredible. And one of the premises that he introduced me to was the concept of suffer beautifully. A lot of people have said it in life in a different way, but his concept really, really hit home and really made the point well. We all have difficulties. Yours may not be the same as mine. Maybe your difficulties come financially, or with your family history, or with a personal disability or disadvantage that has affected your life. Maybe you have injuries, maybe you have sicknesses. Guys, it's not a competition. We all have different things that weigh on us. But in that, we are more alike than we are different. Sorry, that's my dog in the background if you can hear that. But because we've all had those times, we all have to have something to get us through it. That's where God, family, and country has guided my life so well. It has given me a direction, something to hold on to, even in the most difficult times of my life. Now, you can mock it as a movie cliche, or you can take it for what it is. Maybe yours is different than mine. Maybe you have a different foundational support than I do. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. In fact, I'd be kind of disappointed if it was exactly the same as mine, because then we all are too cliche, right? No, I'm just kidding. God, family, country are very solid, but maybe yours is different. I'm an American. If you're listening to this or watching this video on YouTube or checking it out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are joining us today, comment down below. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're listening from. and tell me what your foundational elements are. I'd love to hear about it, guys. Hit me up. I'm the Fallible Man, pretty much on every social media. I think we have 7 channels on social media right now, not counting YouTube or this podcast, Eastern News. So that brings me up to like 9. So I'm the Fallible Man everywhere. Check me out. Ping me. Tell me where you're experiencing this from, and tell me what your foundations are. Some people could joke that mine are coffee because I'm going to stop right here and take a drink of coffee. I drink coffee all day long. So, and that may be weird for you, but I won't say it's foundation, but it's a very important piece of my life. So, what is something that is cliche and made fun of in movies has actually been incredibly important to me as a man throughout my entire life? Now, I know I'm 40. I'm not very old. There are a lot of you guys out there who are older than me, more experienced than me. There are a lot of you guys who are younger than me. But trust me, having something like that simple idea of God, family, and country to see you through the rough seas of life makes things so much more excellent. And it makes it so much easier for you to actually be able to carry on with your day and meet the difficulties of life head on. It gives you an advantage, guys. So, 2020 has been a crazy year, right? I mean, like I said, I'm only 40, but I don't remember a year like it, and quite honestly, I'll be glad when it's done. We're all facing things that are fairly new for us, and the world is just on fire. It's nuts. It's not just the pandemic, it's everything in every way. Everyone is reacting to it that is just insane right now. So, a foundation, my foundation of God, family, country, I'm going to repeat that a lot, has been really important to me to help stabilize me at this time in my life. Especially at a time when churches aren't allowed to meet together in person. My family has always been my foundation through and through. I'm a Christian. I'm not necessarily the best Christian in the world, only because I don't put much separation between God and family, I guess. And I'm not sure you're supposed to. I don't know that I have that all figured out. If you have that figured out, comment below, share it with me, because I'm all kinds of screwy on that one. My wife and children are my anchor point in this world. My faith sits right there alongside of it, but I can't always say it's God, family, country. Sometimes it's family, God, country. But however it works for you, you need a foundation during uncertain times. And 2020 is the perfect example, right? The whole world has gone topsy-turvy, timey-wimey. Sorry for all my Doctor Who fans out there. It's just crazy. It's clown world. I actually joined a Facebook group called Hong Kong Clown World just because there's just so many absurdities right now. I get a kick out of seeing all the posts that go up. Right now, more than ever, it is important that you have a foundation and that you share that with people if you're in direct responsibility. Is that the right word? We'll go with responsibility for them. I have 2 daughters. I said my girls are part of my life, or a foundation. My girls are everything to me. And right now, as we look at going back to school, I know some places have started back in school. Some places won't start back to school till after this next holiday, the beginning of September. Ours is one of those. So we're getting closer and closer to school starting, and it's a very trying time for my children. And for all children right now, not just mine. And so conveying that foundation and having that strength is important not only for you, but is important for your children. If you have children, it's important for you to teach them to have a foundation and to let them share in the strength and stability of your foundation and instill that in them. So right now is particularly important, not just for you, but for the people in your life, that you have that core, solid foundation to stand on. And if you don't, then it's going to make things really difficult for you and the people you care about. So mock God, family, country, or embrace it like I do. Embrace whatever yours is. Like I said, comment whatever medium you're watching this on or listening to this on. Let me know what your foundational values are. Because if you don't know, that's the most important first step we need to get into, is how do you identify and find what your core is? Now, ironically, this is probably one of the easiest questions I can ask today. Everybody knows, albeit sometimes subconsciously, what their core is. I said God, family, country. That sounds kind of generic, but it really is what I stand on. I don't know where you're watching this from or where you're listening to this from, but there's a lot of debate about how things are being handled all over the world. No matter what country you're in. While I don't know a great deal about world politics, I do know that world news reflects the same thing that U.S. news does, and that everybody's got an opinion right now, and no one is 100% agreeable on how things are being handled in this pandemic and this craziness that is life right now. But you have something that is affecting how you get through it. Those are the things that are your core foundation. It's not hard for you to identify those. In fact, I bet you could do it pretty easy if you take a few minutes. So, I'm not a journaling guy. Okay? My wife likes to journal, and she likes to write things down. It's never been a thing for me. I've read all kinds of gurus that say you should write things down and journal, and it will help you reach a higher something. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not that eloquent of a person. I have read lots of self-help books that say you should do the same thing, and I don't necessarily believe any of it. I think it's all kind of crazy, but if it works for you, then it's a great thing. That's my theory on it. If journaling is a good thing for you, then great. I'm so glad you found it. If you never tried it, give it a try a couple times. If it doesn't do anything for you, you haven't really lost much. If it does, then hey, you found something wonderful, right? Never a bad thing to try new things as long as it doesn't hurt other people, yeah? I'm all about trying the new, and not for the sake of trying the new, but just for seeing what there is to see, right? I want to learn. I want to learn lots of things. And so, while I'm not normally a journaling person, I would say get out a piece of paper, at least for this episode, okay, and write down the 3 core things that you stand on. Your solid foundation, the rock in which everything in your life is built on. Now, like I said, this won't take you long. Most of you already know what it is. Maybe you never thought about writing it down, but write it down this once. I promise. I will not ask you to do this very often. Like I said, I'm not a journaling guy myself, so I won't ask you to write down things very often. But take a minute and write it down. It's worth your while. While I get a cup of coffee here. Yep. Oh, I love coffee. Now, once you have those things written down, hold on that piece of paper because we're not done with it. You're going to have to write down 3 more things today. That's all. I promise. I'm sorry. I know. Like I said, not a journaling person. Type it in your phone, whatever you want to do. My notepad is in my phone because my handwriting is atrocious. Now that I babbled about that, hey, before I go any farther, bills got to get paid, so let's talk about today's sponsor. Today's
episode brought to you by thefallibleman.com. That's right, it's us. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com and check out our blog, updated twice a week with new content and links to all of our social media offerings. Tag or search us at The Fallible Man or at Fallible Man on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social medias for daily content. While you're there, check out our attitude swag, shirts, cups, stickers, and more. Again, that's www.thefallibleman.com.
So we already talked about you need to have a foundation. Well, you also need to have a set of values. Now, the term values gets a bad rap people think of the word as old-fashioned, and let me just dispel that myth right here. Values are not old-fashioned. Okay? Watch one news cycle and tell me the world doesn't need values. That's all I even got to say on that. Watch the news one night and tell me that the world is not in desperate need to have its values reaffirmed. Guys, values shape your foundation. Without values, you're just spinning your wheels. It's one thing to have a foundation to stand on, but that foundation doesn't do you any good without values to shape your life. Now, what am I talking about with values? I'm not talking about golden rules or anything like that. Okay? Values are a funny thing. It doesn't matter who you are, they apply. Everybody has values. Some people's values are different than yours, but everybody has values. It's really funny because a lot of people have quote-unquote values that they think are new and established or are totally them, but a lot of values come from religion. Whether you are a religious person or not, whether you have practiced any particular faith or not, almost all major values in the world are based on religious teaching or religious ideas. I get a great kick out of it. I have some friends who are atheists, and I respect their choice to be atheist, but some of the values they espouse as just good, solid values came to this world through religion. Maybe you are a religious person. Maybe you're semi-religious. Maybe you go to church. Maybe you don't go to church. It doesn't matter. Okay? I am not talking about things like the golden rule. Everybody's heard of the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This isn't a religious show, but that's not a value. That's a principle. That's a good principle. Okay? I'm not talking about thou shalt not kill or thou shalt not steal. Those are really good rules, but they're not values. Values are a deeper thing than that. They shape who you are. They're deeper than the simple concept of not stealing. You don't steal and you don't murder because that's shaped by other values, not because of the rule. So let me give you an example. The Air Force core values are integrity first, service before self, excellence in all they do. Sorry if the S's come out. I'll have to listen to the audio and see if I need another pop filter. I actually had to look these up. This is my second take on this, and I had to look these up because I remembered the first two and forgot the third. My drill sergeant would have killed me for, oh man, they pounded that into us. Every single day, every single morning, specifically, we had to recite the Air Force core values, and I totally blew that third one when I was recording this earlier. Integrity, service before self, and excellence. Those are values. Excellence in all they do. Okay? Integrity shapes all kinds of things, right? Service, the idea of service before self. When I'm talking about values, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about rules. I'm talking about the guidelines that shape those rules, that make those rules be practical to you. Every branch of the government, let me rephrase that, every branch of law enforcement or military has core values. We will not get into a political debate about whether we think that they adhere to them well. The military does, as far as I'm concerned. Big supporter of the military. And I think they do a pretty good job sticking to their core values. But even inside the military, the Rangers have their own credo. The U.S. Navy SEALs have their own credo. The Marines have their own credo, separate from even these more specialized groups. The branches themselves have their own core values. You get into the FBI, I've had friends in the FBI over the years, and they have their own core values. Not all of them seem to remember them, but they have their own core values. These are things that shape your actions. and they revolve around your foundation. Now we're going to move into 3x3 method. Now let me give credit where credit is due. When I first started the Fallible Man several months ago, I was doing a lot of research because social media is not my best subject. Never been a big fan of social media. And so I did a lot of research looking as I was trying to build my brand and build my company. And I came across this very successful young woman named Vanessa Lau. You can find Vanessa Lau on YouTube. She has her own podcast. She's on, I think, all the social media platforms as well. She is a 20-some-odd-year-old young woman from Canada who is doing a stellar business. I think she makes upwards of 7 figures with her business, doing online coaching for businesses who are building a brand online. So I got this concept from her because as I was researching my company, I came across her 3x3 method for branding your business. As I was learning her 3x3 method of branding your business, it hit a nerve, and I went, wow, this is so much deeper than that, because it's not just about a business. This is about a person. So as it works, you take your in the business model, you take your 3 values and your 3 content ideas, and they shape each other, right? 3 content ideas, 3 business values, or 3 values, and they cross together, and that's your guideline for creating content and how you drive your business. For example, my business is built on integrity, high value content, and empowering people to change their own lives. My content revolves around men, husbands, fathers. Yes, I know they overlap, but those are the pillars that make up my brand as the Fallible Man. Now, what I want you to do is build your foundation, because that's what this really spoke to me about when I read these. I didn't just look at what this could do for my business. I went, wow, this is an incredible way to build an amazing foundation. Because guys, in 2020, you need a rock. Okay? You need to stand on a rock. I want you to get this imagery in your head. Close your eyes for a minute. Not if you're driving. Please don't if you're driving. I want you to get this imagery in your head, though. Okay? My dad loves lighthouses. And they're frequently built out on close islands, close to the shore, or on rock jutties that jut out into the water. And so there's all these amazing pictures of lighthouses with the surf just crashing over the rocks. Are you seeing this in your mind? Just imagine just the surf just smashing into these rocks jutting out in the ocean. That is the imagery I want you to think of when I'm talking about a foundation. Because in 2020, you need a solid rock foundation. You need to stand on that rock and know it's not going anywhere. It's not enough to just have your 3 values, right? I can't just say God, family, country. Because in 2020, those are solid, but without the values, then they're just something to stand on. But it's not a totally solid foundation. So here's where the paper comes in. I want you to write again, just a second. I can't let my coffee get too cold. Here's where the values come in. Now that you got your paper out, right, and you wrote down your foundation, for me, God, family, country. Since you wrote that down, I go down a line or two, so there's a little space, and I want you to find your 3 values. Look it up online if you need to, but I'm talking about things like integrity. I'm talking about things like service before self. I'm talking about honor, discipline, I'm not talking about don't steal things from people. That's nice. That's a good rule. Look up the definition of values on your computer if you need to, but find the 3 values. And guys, you already know what they are. These 3 values have been driving you your whole life. They're something you develop naturally. They're instinctual for people, especially men. Men have an instinctive nature that speaks to us. So dig in right here and find your 3 values. For me, it's integrity, honor, and discipline. They shape everything I do. You mix those with God, family, country, and I have a rock solid foundation no matter what the storm blows at me. Guys, we know 2020 is insane. We know that no one's seen anything like this in almost a lifetime. There's probably some really old people who remember the end of the Spanish flu. I don't know. I don't know how old the oldest people are right now. That was like 1918 or 1916. We've had some minor diseases like Zika and swine flu and the AIDS epidemic, and I'm not belittling those, right? Those were big issues. But right, every couple of years we have something crop up that's horrible. But it's not just that. It's how the world is dealing with it right now has made the impact of this substantially more crazy. People are losing their businesses and their livelihoods and their jobs. People's families are being ripped apart because this is screwing people up financially. This is putting people in cabin fever. And if you've never experienced that, you are now at this point, I'm pretty sure. My 3 baseline foundations of God, family, and country, that's not enough without my actual core values. So just like Vanessa Lau used it in her business method for branding, and it's been very effective, I admit, I highly recommend you look up her stuff if you're trying to start your own business, guys. I want you to take those 3 foundations, write them down, and I don't care if you fold it up and put it in your wallet, put it on your desk, put it in your phone. Find your 3 values and put them down. And that can be your foundation. Guys, together with your foundation and your values, the 3x3 method, that's what it is, 3x3 method, you can weather any storm. No problem. I mean, you got this. This is easy, hands down. Anything that comes your way. 2020, whether it's a pandemic or, what is it we got? Murder hornets, tegus invading the Carolinas. I saw a great meme the other day. It had 2 shark fins swimming back and forth in a field of wheat and said, coming August 2020. It's like 2020 just takes it as a challenge every time we go, oh, it can't get worse. No matter what comes, even if we got sharks in the wheat fields, guys. That 3x3 method will give you a solid foundation as a man to let you stand through anything. It'll also give you the strength and the direction to help your children and your spouse or any of your friends through this really difficult time that we're going through as a nation and as a world. No matter where you're going through this at, we are all stronger together, but we are stronger if men act like men. So get your values, get your core, build your 3x3 pillars, guys. Pillars have been around for a long time. All you got to do is look at ancient architecture. You've got to have something to set down, something foundational, something to stand on. I'm really screwing up my metaphors now. Guys, take your 3 values and your 3 foundations, put them together, and you can knock down the world. I really appreciate you spending the time with me today. This has been the Fallible Man Podcast, your home for all things man, husband, father. Be sure to subscribe and follow us everywhere you want to be, and remember, be better tomorrow because of what you do today. Thanks for spending the time with me. I am the Fallible Man, Brent Allen, and I'll see you soon.
This has been the Fallible Man Podcast. your home for everything man, husband, and father. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a show. Head over to www.thefallibleman.com for more content and get your own Fallible Man gear.